Welcome, my Zentangle friends. My name is Emmy, and you're on the Zen with Emmy channel. I'm real excited you're here. Just like always, I've got some very fun things to do with you today, and I'm looking forward to sharing May with you. And a shout out to Lois and one to Tamberly because you've been supporting me as everyone else has too, but in a monetary way. And Tamberly has posted the pictures of the tiles that she has done, the patterns, and that's such a big treat to me. Feel free to do that, and I would love to give you a shout out too. So anyway, you can tell what the supplies are. And I also have some scrap paper here so that I can go ahead and show you a couple of things. I have laid out an oval, and then on the oval I have laid out 3 circles. And this is kind of what I have done here. And these are the patterns we're going to use. And I would like to show you how that goes. So the oval, as you can see, is just about, I just put a pencil line in about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And these can be varied sizes, but let me show you where we're going, and then you'll know what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, so this is the merry month of May, and it's also the May of the flower moon. And so I thought, for some reason, an oval appeals to me with that. But that said, you can do this not only with any materials, but with any shape, round or square or rectangle or scrap paper. Please know that it'll work out. I just thought this Eros is so pretty. And I decided to just do the Foundabout pattern on one side because it seems complicated and busy to me to do it on the other side. Let me show you a kind of a sample of the other one with all the way around. I just thought that was too busy for me. So anyway, that's why I decided to look at the baby's breath. Isn't it cute? And these leaves are a hoot too. So we're going to have so much fun today. Anyway, let's get started with the pattern Foundabout. I start off with putting a wavy line in pencil, and that will be my cheat line to use. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make a longish C and then come back. And here I'm going to do another, maybe halfway. You know, it's approximate. Another backwards C and tie it together. Do it again. Another backwards C. And you don't even have to connect these really for what we're doing with our vine shape. Anyway, that's enough to give you the idea. I like to turn this on its side because it's just easier for me. The next shape we're going to do is starting at the point, out like a hill and back in. Do it again. Start at the point, out like a hill and back in. The other 2, out like a hill or up, whatever you want to call it. If you get my drift is all I hope. Out and back in. And those kind of make my pods. That's my basic pod. Now I'm going to start back here again, and I'm going to start at this point, but now I'm going to hollow baw. I'm going to go underneath and finish off. So on the smooth side, the original, I'm going to start here and tie it back off. Do it again. Tie it off. And see what a pretty hollow baw that is? Hollow baw is a technique. It's also a pattern. It's just going behind. Now, I'd like to do this pod as well because within the pod, and there's lots of treatments you could do, like you do little orbs or little lines or something like that. I'm going to do another pod out here like this. But I don't have to do that. That's getting to the point of being an embellishment, which is so different depending on each of our abilities and our desires. So coming back here to the middle, I'm going to close up this pod. But if I didn't want to, you know, again, I could put orbs in here or anything interesting. It's just going to be a fun shape. And of course, I'm not leaving town. I'll be here for you to, you know, we'll do this together. So this, any version of this, and the Eros, or Eros, E-R-O-S, pattern, you and I are going to do on the job together. So let's get started. So as I showed you, I'm going to do the Foundabout up one side. So I'm going to kind of start here and end up here. So I'm going to make my big backward C. And then I'm going to make another backward C coming off like this. Another backward C. This one's going to get kind of high because I'm trying to stay out of the way of the 3 circles that I made, orbs, more or less what we like to call them. This can be very random as to your layout. Just like always in Zentangle, we're celebrating our progress, you and I. We are never, ever, ever going to let the word perfection cross our lips. It's too hard to do perfection. So my daughter says that's what they do in AA. And so it makes sense to me. I'm going to stop somewhere here in this area, maybe just over half. And how pretty is this? So the next thing I'm going to do is work in those half moons in the bottom of them so that I can make that hump and back, hump and back, or hill, whatever. It kind of looks like a hill. And I'll visualize as I'm going how many I want to do of these, and you know, I can easily change it up if it seems like there's too many. Now let's do the pods the other direction. I hope you're enjoying your merry month of May. I am already. I live in Michigan and it's a little bit chilly here, but that means that the bugs are not interested yet, very. But the birds are very interested. They're very fun. And isn't that pretty? So let's come along here and do as I mentioned and make another row that ends up to be hollowbawed. Go behind. This one will have to start here. What a pretty vine this is. Don't you just love it? I just think it's so sweet. Very May. More of that not perfection here. This is going to be fine though, because nobody looks at just one spot and goes, oh, what were you thinking? Now, if I was doing this for an art show or something, I would have my work more in front of me and I would take a ton more time with it, but I know that you don't want to live here all day. So I will be very careful with your time. Nice. This is sweet just as it is. If you want to leave it here like this, I love it, and I would strongly encourage you. I'd say go for it. So I already showed you how the pattern is, and I'm going to make another wide one. I don't have to worry about going on the side now. I have an idea of what I'm doing. There, how sweet. So I would really like to make those lines in the middle. Follow along with what I already did with the shape. In this way, it becomes a little bit of natural shading by adding the lines closer to the edge and spread out a little more in the middle. Like here, I'm doing this very skimpy on the side and just not so tight in the middle. That's what gives it the illusion of having a bit of a curve. Or it's one of the ways. Shading is another huge way. There. So I'm going to want to add a few treatments to this. Just look at what I did here. I added a few just little bitty stick-like things and some orbs. And I will do a little bit with that also. I think it looks real cool. So the sticks are just coming out here and there. They actually remind me a lot of the original one that we were just doing here. And I may add a few more later, but for now I think that'll be good. And let's get this vine on the other side. So the vine itself, as you can see, is just what I've done is just lay it all the way along. I'll show you how it looks. So my line is not heavy, and it doesn't always connect, as you can see. So it can be very, very random and still be quite cute. So, or clever. What the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come along here and put two little, I'm going to join together a C and a backwards C, and then put a little dot in the middle like that. And again, this is just like maybe, well, it'd be some awful big barbs if that's what it was, but they could be just buds of flowers, right? That's what I prefer to think. Just alternating all the way up. I'm leaving a little bit of room so that at the end of some of these I can add some of those sweet flowers that are even more toward a bud. So backward C, forward C, and then that little bit of a treatment in the bottom. Again, they're very random. I don't want this to have the look like it's gotta be a certain side or anything. It's a lot more fun if it alternates. These cute little things do anyway. All right, so where I have this joining, what I'm going to do is add that sweet little flower. I hope you noticed it right here. I should show you this in a larger one. Okay, so that sweet little flower is just a C and a backward C. And then I've got, and I like to start up here with a bit of a, it looks like horns to me, and then come down and connect. Come down and connect. And then what I did is I have a little bit of a light in the bottom, and I can darken that or leave it light till the end, whatever. So wherever I have these that were joiners, I'm going to put a C and a backwards C. And that little bit of a thing there. C. It just looks like this little bit of a flower is just getting going to me. That one turned out a little different because I was thinking about you instead of what I was supposed to be thinking about. And I know you've had that happen too. So keep in mind, this is not about perfection. It's about progress. Cute, cute, cute. Aren't they fun? Alrighty, that's pretty much what I wanted to do with that. Now, these Eros, these flowers here, I may move one up just a little higher. That feels like it's just a little too low to me now that I've got the border on. So, pencil lines are made to be changed. And so I'm going to work with that one and maybe all 4 of them. We'll see. Okay, so the way this goes is this. I'm going to do a substantial orb. Let me get it closer for you. Okay, substantial orb. And then I'm going to come around like this. Maybe even up to 3 times. The next thing I'm going to do is make these little kind of like thorns off. This is something that you would not want to worry about having perfection, okay? One wonderful thing is nobody's going to point to it and say, ooh, should have done this or that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is come along the outside and add an orb around it. So you can add that off-centered, and then that is going to definitely affect the way this looks. So what I want to do now is I want to come through here, make an indentation, and back out like that. I'm following my orb, but I'm going to have to go outside of my orb here because that's going to be weird. Hang it right off the top here. Do another one. Off the top, add another, off the top, in and out. And this one is going to join in a double way. How cool is that? Okay, but that line is going to make me crazy, so I'm going to get rid of it right away. There, that's what my handy dandy pencil is for. As you noticed, I more or less just lifted that. Okay, the next thing I want to do is do some thickening. The thickening is going to come along here like this, wherever these joined. And while I'm doing this, I will also darken on the outside of that circle. See where I'm thickening that so that it has the illusion of being dark behind it. Thick there and thicker there. And then I'm going to come back along here, and at the top I'm going to cut a little bit of that out with a bit of thickening again. Watch. Come along here like this and back in, and then darken that. So I'm not doing both sides, I'm just going to do one side and cut a bit of that dip out. I'm not trying to make them look the same. I'm just trying to add some drama in an easy way. There. Isn't it pretty? Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add some whiskers that are different heights. They're just pen flicks like that, just flick. And you see that they're not, I'm giving you a range of pen flicks because they are meant to be folds, and folds would be different. Folds are not going to be perfect and at the same place. Oh, fun. This is so much fun. I have enough room for this one here. And I'm going to make that one that one is toward the middle. So maybe this one will be even more toward the middle. Round and round and round we go. And the next thing we're going to do is put those spikes. This is one of those places that I turn my work a lot because I want to have these be fairly uniform in size. Now, if I want this off-centered, how I'm going to do that is to make my orb off-centered that surrounds it. If I want it to radiate this way, I'm going to radiate my orb out that way more. So let's do it that way. Radiate your orb out and tighter on that side. So now I'm going to have a lot of hollow ball. I'm going to have a lot of going underneath. And that comes down. This one we're going to pretend is coming out. I'm using my pencil, but I'm not using my pencil circle the way I thought I would. And this is going to be able to connect out here like that. Woohoo! So you see how this becomes off-centered now. I like to darken that as I go. It's a lot easier. Otherwise, I tend to forget. I'm sure you know what I mean. Okay. Let's darken some of these, the petals. I think this is a very pretty rose. Very pretty pattern. So you can take a little bit of issue out if you have a little and you're not happy with something. You can take a little bit of it out. And time for those sweet little whiskers. I'm going to have the illusion of darkness under there, I think. I think it will be fine. Many whiskers or as few as you want. Again, I'm going to work to get rid of some of the pencil marks and see what I got going on, if I'm going to have room for another or not. I like threes. Threes make sense to me. There we go, but I definitely don't have room for 4. And I have room for this one over here, which is why I did these pencil lines first before I did that border, because otherwise what would happen? Oh, there's a little more. Don't like the look of that. Okay, so I'm going to make this one here. Make my circle orb. Come around. Make the little thorns. See, I how everything looks. So cute. Circle around. Get some of those. That's going to have a little thickness there. I don't see any problem with that. Get some petals going here. And that one is hidden underneath. Okay, next thing I want to do is get some darkness behind each of these. That's just, as you can see, working very lightly with my pen. Anybody else having allergies from the change of the weather? Seems to have gotten to me. A lot of sniffling in my house right now. Caused mostly by me. And the whiskers. I'll be adding some shading, and that will matter with this too. How cute. But also, when I get my leaves on here, my rose leaves, that's going to really improve this a lot too. So let's put a rose leaf right in here. Rose leaf is just an out and an in, and then a double line. I like to put mine on a curve, but you don't need to. It gives kind of the illusion that it's folded or it's bent or curved. And then I'm going to pretend I have serrated leaves here. Out and back, out and back. And if I want this to have this serrated, I start back here and then thicken like that. Start back at here and then thicken. I usually don't thicken the whole thing, but sometimes it's just going to behave that way. Your pen has a mind of its own once in a while. Have you ever noticed? I'm sad to say. Now, that's cute. Okay, I think I have room for a couple leaves here. So let's put one down here. And that same division so that I can add the serrated leaves or the serrated. There's other ways to do that too. I just like this way for this project. Let's see if I have room for anything else. Another leaf somewhere. I think I'd like another leaf. Maybe here. Kind of hidden almost, nestled in. There. Have a little bit of a point to it, I believe. And yeah, there's a few here. A few areas, not many. No, I didn't join those, so very few. A little bit more erasing to do here and there. It's a good time to do it, although you can use some of those for your shading. usually in Zentangle, we don't do so much erasing, but once in a while, what can I say? I'd like to add some baby's breath in here. So the way I add baby's breath is this. It's just something that like a florist would stick in. It's just the thinnest of a stem or stick, and then maybe a couple more, again, very thin. Might add another one here. It's like a stick that she's added, or the florist, he, she, and then make a series of dots around. You can add more sticks if you want. I think I need another over here. You can see my pen is barely touching the paper. Yeah, isn't that cute? I think that down here would be a good place for one. Just like in an arrangement, it's a wonderful filler for what we've been doing. So cute, isn't it? Oh my gosh. So let's get some orbs on the side, and maybe the other side too. I think we have a little room for a few substantial orbs to fill in spots. Darken there. And then we're ready for some shading. I'm going to make some orbs come down here and gather at the bottom. Whole pile. Yeah. Okay, so you can do more with that, that's for sure. Okay, time to grab your pencil. And I want to shade inside of these Eros centers. These are also MoonBerry type things. Shade inside because then it'll look rounded. Shade the petals on the whisker areas. I usually use my pencil more on the side, but I really want to have an illusion of being rounded, or not rounded, but I want it to spread out the shading. And to do that, I need to not be too heavy on there. Okay, a little more on here. Maybe just the one side, and the same thing with the whiskers on this Eros here. See how I'm spreading it out this time? Not too tight. One side of the leaf. Not both sides, whatever side you choose. The inside of the curves always seems to be most appealing. And this vine thing on this side, I'm going to do just one side again. You can see I'm putting shading on just 1/4 of an inch maybe over. I want it to kind of look like it's laying on here. Okay, and I am really not crazy about how to shade this. So I'm going to kind of just go on the outside edge. Trying to get some graphite on here. And then I'm going to grab my blender stump. I want this to have the illusion of being rounded. So I want it definitely white in the middle. Definitely. And then those whiskers. Well, shading is in the eye of the beholder, and that's how I see this. And if you see 10 people doing shading, you'll see 10 different ways, chances are. So know that you won't get it wrong, okay? That's my comfort for you and me today. You might have quite enough on your blender stump now, or Q-tip, whatever you're using. Oh, just as often I've had to use my finger. Haven't had any blender tool. So that works out too. I want to spread this one out a little bit. Ooh, is this pretty? I hope you like yours too. Definitely going to have to look this over, see what I've been doing here before I put my initials on it. Very nice. Wow, is that ever pretty? Where I have this joining, I'd like to put a little shading on here. Always stand back and admire your work a little bit before you say it's done. And then I like to grab the smallest pen I have, which is in this case my 005, and I want to put my initials, my chop, in here somewhere in a not too obvious place. And that is our wonderful 1st of May project. Thank you. Wouldn't this look fun with color on it? I hope you do some fun work, and I hope you have a real good time with this. Thank you so much for playing along with me. I'll talk to you next week.